So hey guys, we are live with the final session of this full stack project. So in the past sessions, Anant has already gone step by step and explained different aspects and how to go around implementing those aspects. So those sessions in itself are enough to actually understand and implement it yourself. But because many people have a lot of doubts in the final stage of implementation, we are conducting this session to uh, explain that as well so that it could be easy for you to implement and complete the project. So we have Anant here who will take you through this final stage. So Anant, you can get started.
Yeah. Thanks, Jiren.
Maybe we can do a quick recap on like what we did in the previous sessions,
Sure.
what we'll do today. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the previous sessions, we went through the course of full stack development. So what is full stack development and how to start a Flask project and how to start building these templates in Flask, how to implement login and sign up functionality for users, and how to upload files and all. So let me share my screen. Jen, can you enable screen share?
Yeah, it's done.
Okay. So yeah, so this is the project document, specifications document. So here we completed this stage 1, 2, and 3. So we built this login flow, and then we created this UI for showing the list of files that are uploaded. And then we did the upload file functionality where people can upload a file and all. So after that, so the final stage is for file sharing, in which a lot of you have been saying that you're facing some difficulty in implementing this. So today we'll be going through making files shareable via permalinks and allowing download of uploaded files. So before starting this, so let's go through these details as well. So here we said after uploading a file, every file should have a permalink. So I did explain this in the group. So this permalink, it's just a word for a link that does not change. So it doesn't define anything on how the link should be and all. So it's just it's actually let's go through this Wikipedia for this. Yeah, so this a permalink is a URL that is intended to remain unchanged for many years into the future. So that's it. It's just like any normal link. So when you share files in Dropbox or Google Drive, you may have seen you get some links like Dropbox.com. Yeah, so this for example is a link for a file, right? So see this link, I mean this is an example of a permalink. So this link will not change with time. Okay. So this file, whatever this file zip file is, it will always be available at this link. Okay. So you can see their link contains after the domain name there is /sh / some u7, some hash is there, some unique ID or maybe the file's unique ID or something, and then there is another hash. Okay. And there are some query parameters. So this is their link which Dropbox has made for this file. So in our application, we'll do a link, similar link, and this link, so this /sh / u7, everything is up to us. So however we want, we can define that link. So I mean the I think some of you had this confusion on why is it called a permalink. So that's what I wanted to show you. So it's just a link that does not change. So when you actually implement this and you actually deploy this on a system, and let's say you make some updates to your application at a later stage, you have to ensure that this link is always supported because this link has been shared at a lot of places. Okay, so that is a permalink. So for the scope of this application, it is just going to be a link. Okay, it will be a route in our application. Okay, so and then we said this link can be shared by the user publicly, any logged in user can download the file from this link. Okay, we mentioned any logged in user. So because so even though, so for example in the Dropbox file, so this is public, so there is no need to sign in or sign up to download this file. Since this is public, it doesn't need any authentication, so we are able to download freely without signing in. But in our application, we wanted people to sign in before they download the file. So the other user must be signed in to access and download the file. Okay, and the file should not be accessible publicly. And we also said the system should track downloads, which user has downloaded which file. Okay, so let's go. So these were the screenshots. Let me just quickly run the app that we had. Okay, so this was the app that we made during the course of this session. I made during the course of this session. Your code may be different and your design may be different, but yeah. So once we log in, we see a list of these uploaded files here. And so this size and all, I had not implemented this size. So, and I had left that for you. And this uploaded time also, so this is the time. So this share and delete buttons I had not implemented. So I think delete should be straightforward for you guys. I mean, you should implement it. So now let's start with the share. Okay, and let's go through the code also. Let's do a recap of the code a little bit. Okay, so all our code was in one file. Okay, so this is our entry point file, server code. So here we define the app, and these are the app routes. Okay, and then we had the templates in templates folder. Okay, and then we had static, which is the JavaScript files that our front end has included. So here, yeah, so we implemented this upload as well. So let's say I upload some file here. Okay, so it is getting uploaded with and this size is not implemented, of course. So I think until here you have it's there in the previous sessions. So let's quickly start on this share dialog. Okay, so now how I want to implement it is when the user clicks this share button, I want to show them a dialog, and inside that, so that is a model. So inside that model, I want to show them a link. Okay, so like this, let's say there is this share file model. Inside that will show a permalink, that which is the link that we can share with other users. Okay, so since we are developing this on localhost 5000, the link will contain this localhost 5000. Okay, but when we deploy this in some production server on a good domain, let's say some domain that we own, we will be replacing this domain with that domain. Okay, later on, but for now our links will contain localhost 5000. Okay, so let's quickly get this model in place. Let's go to this files. Okay, so how we have this upload model, right? We are going to create a share model now, and as you can see, so this link, it will change based on the file that I click. Okay, so let's say I click on this share here. Okay, the model, the URL inside this should change. Okay, and let's say I click on this share button, so I have to show the link for this file now. Okay, so there will be a link here, and that link will have to change based on what share button that I click. Okay, so so that, since now we have a dynamic element here, we'll have to use some JavaScript as well to achieve this. But yeah, first let's go and make a share model here. Okay, I'll call this share model. So this is another model. Just a second, guys. My keyboard is acting up for some reason. So, sorry. Okay, so this will call it as a share module. Just a second, guys. Okay, sorry. Hey, Jaren, can you hear me?
Yeah. India tour of Australia. Yeah.
Okay. So we are making this model share model. So I just copied this entire code from the upload model into a new file. So we're calling this a share model, and we'll change the heading to share file. So one thing you have to know in HTML is that we can't have these duplicate IDs. I mean, it won't affect behavior immediately, but it's not good behavior. Also, it's not good code. So we'll just remove this ID and file heading. What we'll call it share file heading. So in the content, so how I'm building this is we'll mock a link, guys, here. So we'll just have some kind of link. Let's say share link. Oops, man. So here I'll say HTTP. Oops.
Hello, Anand.
Hello. Yeah, just a second. Just a second, Jaren.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
due to some reason, my keyboard has failed. I'm
Okay.
changing the batteries, and let me try again.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah, I think now it's back. Now it's fine. So I'm putting some hard-coded link for now. So I'll just say localhost 5000. So we also need to decide on a link pattern, but fine. files. Okay, and when this is clicked, so when this is we need to show this when the share button is clicked. So let's go ahead and add a trigger for this model. Okay, so we just made a model, we just made a mock model here, and we added this trigger so that this model is shown when the share button is clicked. So let's come back here and refresh this. Okay, so this is how this is how it's going to look. So whenever the share button is clicked, so this model will come, our new model, whatever model we coded, and so this will be our link. Okay, and we'll have to change this based on whatever link is clicked. So whatever file is clicked, let's say I click on this file, I have to show that link here. So let me quickly style this as well so that it looks good. Oops. Yeah, I think that looks okay. So here, so in my application, until now, I did not have any custom CSS. So I just had this style block. But a good behavior is you have to have a separate style sheet. So let me just add a style sheet, styles.css. And let's add this CSS file. So now in share model, for share link, I have to add my CSS. So I'll just share model, share link. Okay, so as you can see, first I did these changes in inspect element. So this is how you do front end development, mostly CSS. So you first test your CSS in inspect element, you make the changes here, and once you have the whatever desired style, whenever you have the right set of CSS, you copy them into your CSS file. So now let me reload this page. So sometimes you may not see your CSS refreshing immediately, guys. So because the browser has some caching, it caches CSS files by default. So for that you have to hit Control Shift R. Okay, you may be hitting this refresh button. This is Control R, and Control Shift R is for reloading with the cache as well. So once you reload it, and you can see this style has applied now. Okay. So similarly, we need a JavaScript here, a JavaScript file as well, because whenever this share click happens, we need to change whatever link is shown here. So to achieve that, I mean, this is about page interactivity now. So something in the page needs to change based on some event like click or like focus or onload, something like that. So whenever you have that kind of functionality, you need to add a JS file. So let me add a JS file here. I'll say this is my files.js or files page here. I'll call this files page.js, and I'll go into my files.html. and I have to add script. I can add the script here, but it's a good practice to add these scripts at the end of body. So here you can see we added this jQuery and Bootstrap scripts at inside the head. Okay, but it's a good practice to add them at the end of the body. You can see in Stack Overflow why that is. So it is for performance, mainly for performance reasons. So I'll come here, and now you can see I don't want this files page script. Okay, so I'll say alert. This is files page. Okay, I'm just putting an alert here, and I don't want this files page.js to execute in my login page. Okay, so I can't put that file here itself. I can't include that script. Okay, this static files page.js here itself, because if I put it here itself, then you can see this is our login page, right? It's included in the login page as well, but we don't want that in the login page. So the right way to do this is you create a new block here, block scripts. Okay, and then you go into this your files HTML, and you put it in this block. Okay. So now you can see, so it's not included in the login page, but once I log in, you can see on this page it is included. You can make sure you can see the same thing here as well. Okay, so our script is now included because this is the files page, index page. Okay, I think I hope you got that. Otherwise, you can put your doubts in the Zoom call anyway. So now, yeah, I think, okay. So now, so here on this files page, so this is the first JavaScript file that we are writing. I think this is a good step here to explain you something in JavaScript as well. So the language basics and all you'll have to go through in W3 schools. You have to learn it. You have to learn the language there. But after that, so since we also have jQuery in our page, I'll be using jQuery also. So if you don't want to use jQuery, you can use pure JavaScript as well. And like in the previous sessions, so most of it is like, so let's say we'll be doing that anyway, but most of it is like, okay, JavaScript set on change listener. Okay, so whatever you don't know, you can put it in internet search, and you can just go through these links and you'll find this information. Okay, so I mean, don't shy away from doing this kind of searches, because I personally learned from this kind of searches only. Okay, so because I mean, nobody knows by default, right? You don't know these things by default, so you'll have to do a lot of searches like this. So here itself, so whenever this share button click happens, so this model is shown, right? So we have to, and if you see this model, we are not showing it through JavaScript. We are doing it through this Bootstrap attributes. We are using this data toggle model and data target share model. So okay, so at this stage, we can do Bootstrap on model shown. Okay, so yeah, so you can see it's model on shown. Okay, so I mean, there could be some event in Bootstrap itself. Yeah, so there is the shown.bs.model event in Bootstrap, which fires when the model is completely displayed. Okay, so JS is about event handling, guys. You'll have to study that as well. But other than that, here in model, so okay, so in under usage, you can see via data attributes. This is one way to show the model, and this is another way to show a model, which is directly through JavaScript. You can say some model. This is the RED, which is a share model. In our code, it's share model. So we can say share model.model options. Okay, and that show is true by default. So this also shows the model. So let me quickly show that to you. I guess that is always good to know. So here in files.html, we were using this first way, which is this data attributes. Okay, we were doing it via data attributes. So let me quickly get rid of this. Okay, so now we'll have to do this through JavaScript whenever this button is clicked, right? So for that, you have to implement a event listener, okay, for all these share buttons. So now to implement the share, an event listener on share buttons, we have to identify each share button, okay, whatever these buttons, all these buttons, we have to identify them uniquely, because we want to do something when something is, this click happens. So for that, let me add a class here. I'll call this as btn share, okay, or I'll call this btn share file. So now in our JS file, I'll say, okay, so this is jQuery code, guys. Otherwise, if you are don't want to use jQuery, you can always, go and say JavaScript add on click listener. Okay, and here inside this code, inside Stack Overflow or W3 Schools, you'll find the JavaScript way of doing it. But if you want to use jQuery, you can use jQuery. So you just do jQuery add on click listener. Okay, so here you'll find the jQuery way to do the same thing. Okay, but so since this is a full stack project actually, so you have to know both JavaScript and jQuery. Yeah, so I'll just write dot btn share file. Okay, so we are targeting all these share buttons here. So this is, we are selecting, so this is jQuery selector, we are selecting all these share buttons and we are binding a click handler. Okay, so in here we want to do as shown in the bootstrap page. Oops, sorry, let me restart. Yeah, so here via JavaScript we want to do this. Okay, and our options are nothing for now. Let's leave it like that. And our ID is share model. Okay, so as you see now, we don't have these data attributes here, but when we go to the page, I'm doing Control Shift R because it's even for JS files, sometimes cache happens, so it's better to always do Control Shift R if you are doing development work. Okay, so here I'll click on the share. So you can see the model is coming now. The model is now coming from JavaScript, okay, from here. So to make sure that is true, we can do a console log as well. Model is now shown. Okay, so this console log, you'll have to get comfortable using this console log as well. Come here, go to inspect element. There is this JavaScript console. So now I reload this page and I click share. Here you can see model is now shown, which is coming from our filespage.js line 3. Okay, here. So yeah, so now here, so this is now I think you should be comfortable here. Here we can do whatever we want now. Okay, we can change the page content as we like. So here, let me quickly pick that share this file here. So now we need this file name, right? We need this file name inside the model, and we need the file ID as well. Okay, and before we do that, let's build the permalink. Okay, whatever link we are going to use. So like Dropbox you saw, so this is an example link, right? For Dropbox they use /sh. I don't know what that means. I mean, it's their convention, it's their link. So in our code, in our project, let's do this link like http localhost 5000, which will be the domain name. So after that we'll do /download, okay, /download /file ID /file name. Okay, and this file name right here, so since file name can have like dots and like spaces, special characters, some special characters, we don't want all those in the file name. So since this is a URL, we'll do something called Slugify. We'll go through that when we do it. But yeah, let's change this link now. Here I'll form this link here. Okay, I'll say permalink is http localhost 5000. So as you can see, this will change, guys. This will change in the future. Okay, plus /download /file ID. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just writing the code here without defining these variables. We'll define them. We'll get to that. Okay, we'll do the file ID here. and then we'll do file name sluggified. Okay, so here for now I'll just say file ID is XYZ. We'll see how to get actual values into this xyz.jpg. Okay, and now in this code, so whenever this click happens, right, we want to change this link. Now we have to target this as well. We have to select this element which has this class called share link, okay, inside the share model. Okay, so to target that, I'll write share model space dot share link. Okay, like, so these jQuery selectors, you can see they are similar to these CSS selectors. Okay, here like how we targeted it in CSS, we can select it using that same selector, CSS selector, here in jQuery. Okay, and to change the contents in jQuery, so this is the function. This is the to change the HTML, inner HTML. In JavaScript, you'll find something like document dot query selector. Okay, dot inner HTML is equal to permalink. So this is the JavaScript way, and this is like the jQuery way. And again, it's up to you, whatever you use. Okay, so here I put the permalink. So you can see whenever this share button is clicked, I'm showing this model, and I'm forming the permalink here with some hard-coded file ID. We'll see how to get this file ID here. Okay, and I'm forming the permalink here, and I'm setting the permalink in this selector, this element. Okay, this is my element, target element. So now let's reload at this stage. Let's click share. So you can see now this link has changed. So even though in our HTML file the link is /files, file ID, file name, right? But here you can see /download xyz.jpg. So this is coming from here now. So here now all we need to do is to get the actual file ID here and actual file name, sluggified file name into this place. Okay. So for that, so now sluggified, what is sluggified is sluggify, it's like some development term. Okay, so a URL slug is about, nah. Yeah, so what happens is this slugify, we use it generally to remove these spaces, special characters. So as you can see, star, plus, so all these characters, we don't want them in the URL when it is shared, when that file is shared, right? So that is why we use this slugify feature. You can download this slugify.js from this GitHub page and include it in your project to do the actual slugify. But what I will do now is I'll just put a function slugify here. Okay, I'll just slugify name, and I'll just do a naive implementation where I'll say, okay, I'll just say name not replace. I think it's replace all. So as you can see, I don't remember. So how to replace? So string replace. So I'll just do JavaScript string replace. Okay. So yeah, I think we need to replace all. Okay, perfect. So it's replacing all the occurrences anyway. So we are replacing all these spaces with dashes. Okay, so that will be our naive implementation. So we are saying if the file name, whatever this name is, we are replacing all these spaces with dashes. So we can similarly do, we can extend this function. Let's say if there is a star in the file name, we'll replace that with a dash as well. And then if there is a plus in file name, we'll replace that with a dash as well. So like that, you can extend it however you want, or you can use that JS file from GitHub. Okay, fine. So here, so now we have to get this actual file ID here and actual file name here. To do that, so we have to identify each file separately. Okay, so now this share button and this share button, as far as our UI is concerned, if you see that this in the UI, if you inspect them, So these buttons are entirely same, guys. So if you click on this share button and you inspect it, so there is no identification on which share button is this. Okay, from that what I mean is, okay, is this like, so for example, this file name, okay, topic.png, there is no way we can know from this share button that okay, it's in topic.png. So one way we can find that is like, okay, so this share button is here. We can say, okay, go to that parent tr, okay, and go to that first td here and get the file name. That we can do. We can do it that way. Okay, so for similarly, so this, if this share button is clicked, right, we can go to the parent tr, which is this, and then go to the first td and get the file name. Or there is another easy way to do this, and that is data attributes, guys. You already came across these data attributes in this data attributes. So we can pass these file id and file name through these data attributes. So I'm adding some data attributes to this button, my button. I'll say data file id is, okay, f id underscore id, and data file name is original file name. Okay, so now when I refresh this and I inspect the share button, you can see there is a data file ID here and there is a data file name here. So now I can, so this button and this button are now unique. You can see there's some kind of differentiation here itself. What I mean is, so this share button will contain a different file ID. You can see this is C6B, and this share button is like 5448. So now in this button itself, we have this file ID and file name as data attributes. Okay, so now whenever this button is clicked, right, so there is something called this variable in JavaScript. So in this event handler, this will be, so you can see I'm selecting this element with jQuery now. So this will be the current share button. You can see I'm adding this event handler on all my share buttons. So this will contain the actual share button. So when I click this, so this will be the share button. Okay, this will contain this exact share button. And when I click on this, that this will contain this share button. Okay, so this you can check that in internet search as well. You will find it. Okay. So now here my file ID will be, I can take this file ID from my data attribute. Okay, so in jQuery, you can say jQuery data attributes, jQuery access data attributes. So here you can see if there is any HTML tag with a data attribute. This is how you can get that data attribute in JavaScript. Okay, using data set property. And in jQuery, whatever data attribute you want, you can get it with attr function. Okay, so you can say that attribute, okay, this data, this gets me the attribute value, or I can directly do data as well. Data function also is there. Let's use attr for now. Okay, so here I want my data file ID attribute. Okay, so this contains my file ID. And next I'll do file name is attr data file name. Okay, and then let me get rid of this line. So now my file name slugified will be slugify of file name. Okay, I mean, so when you write this kind of functions, guys, it is very important you handle runtime errors, because here, you know, in this function that we defined, there is a chance that this name is undefined or it's null, in which case it will throw a runtime error and it will stop. So we can just say if not name, return. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it. So just to be sure, we can do console log. Permalink is file ID is okay. I think That's it. So let's check our code now. We'll need that to check the console. So yeah, so now I'm clicking on this exact file, familyrelationships.jpg. When I click, so you can see now this link has changed. So it is saying slash localhost 5000 slash download slash some big ID. So this is the file ID from MongoDB, whatever underscore ID, and then we have the file name. Okay, so for this Slugify, I don't want dots as well. I don't want dots in my URL, so I'm also replacing all my dots with dashes. Okay, let me reload it again. Okay, so here you can see it's saying topic dash png now. So I think, yeah, so this, I like this link. So it's all about personal preference as well. So this link is up to you guys. You can have whatever permalink. So let's say you want to have some mystery. I mean, you don't want this download word in your link. So you can just say, you can replace this with D. Okay, or I'll just say S. So it's up to you. I'll just say D for now. Okay, so see, so here we have decided this link, okay, the permalink, the pattern of this link. Okay, so now this page doesn't actually exist. If you go here and, okay, so if you go here, there's a 404 because we have not implemented the server side of it. We are just saying, okay, so this is the link to share this file. Okay, so this link we have decided it in the front end. In the front end, our work is done. Okay, but now we have to actually handle the download page. We have to make a page. We have to first check if the user is logged in. Whenever somebody opens this URL, we have to check if user is logged in. If they're not logged in, you send them to the login page. Okay, and if they are logged in, then you show a page where they can download this file. Okay, so let's do that now. Okay, so back to the basics, guys. So for our development, I don't want to call this D because it gets confusing. So I'll just change this to download again. Okay, so now this is a target link that I want this file to be downloaded at. So now let me close these tabs. Yeah, and I'll open this. So here we are getting a not found because we don't have a route handler for that URL in our server. So let's close all the other files. Let's go here and add a event handler now. I hope you remember all of this, guys. Okay, so it's download. I'm not sure if you did dynamic parameters earlier. If we did it, no. So as you can see, while building this route, so here this ID and this file name can be anything, right? So this file name is not fixed. So we can't just do. Oops, sorry. So we can't just do slash this ID and family here itself. So we can't do that way because this stuff, this is our file ID, right? So this is our file ID. So this has to be something dynamic. Okay, we don't know what it's going to be at this stage. So for that, in Flask, we have something called query parameters. No, not query parameters. I think it's magic parameters. I don't know. Let's see. So yeah, in routing, if you go to routing in Flask, okay, so there are variable rules here. So we can add variable sections to a URL by marking sections with this kind of greater than, less than symbol. Okay, and your function then receives this variable name as a keyword argument. So this is an example, guys. So we can say app.route slash user slash username inside this less than greater than, which will make like this will catch any route like okay, so let's say this right here. Okay, let's say this is our API route. So if I open user.abcd, so it will still go there. Okay, and if I open user slash def, okay, it will still go there. So this username will become some sort of a variable parameter. Okay, so you can see that is how actually Dropbox is doing. So if you see this link, right, so this slash sh, after slash sh, so this thing could be anything, right, and this thing could be anything, but they all are going to the same controller, which is the same handler, route handler in their code. Okay, so let's define this as file ID. and we'll call this file name sluggified. Okay, and methods is get. Okay, so now when we actually define our handler function, we'll get this username, whatever name of the variable we use, we get that as a keyword argument to this function. So show download page. We will now get two parameters, two variables, because we have two variables in our URL. So we'll also get file name sluggified. Okay. So here I'll just do print for debugging. So file ID is file ID, and I'll just say, okay, we'll just return hello, download page will come here for file. Okay, so yeah, so you can see now we are implementing the server side of the download part. Okay, now we have the share URL here, right here. So yeah, this is our share URL. I'll just reload this. Sorry, there is some syntax error. So yeah, I mean, this is a good time to discuss this error as well, guys. So here you can see in line 267 server.py, it's saying /download is there, and there is unexpected EOF. Okay, whereas in line 267, 268, there's I've added some content already, right? So this is a case of this Flask development server. There's a bug in this Flask development server. It's not watching correctly. Okay, even though I've made some changes in the file, it's not reloaded the server properly. So in that case, you go to your terminal wherever you started this process and you manually restart it. Okay, that is the only way. Or I think you make some other change, it might restart. That is also one way. So I'll reload again. So here you can see there is hello, download page will come here for file name. Okay, so I'm already able to access this this sluggified file name here, and this file ID I was printing it, right? So this, since I was printing it, it will be in my console. Okay, you can see file ID is. So now we have already got this file ID. So now we'll have to show a download page, but before that we'll have to see if some user is logged in or not. Okay, so let's copy that, all this. Okay, I hope you remember this from the earlier sessions. So here we are validating the user token, if there is user token in session or not. So if there is no user session, that means no user is logged in. So if there is a user session, then we validate it from the database if that session is valid. And then, okay, after that, if the session is not valid, we are sending them to login page again. So here, if the code is reaching here, that means user is logged in, and so user is authenticated. Some user is authenticated, not necessarily the same user who uploaded the file. It could be any user. So here let's write the pseudo code first. Okay, so what should happen here? So this file ID, right? This file ID, now I could pass anything here. Okay, I could say this is XYZ. Okay, and this is my xyz.jpg. So now you can see this file does not exist, right? So there is no point in showing a download page as if the file is there, right? So here itself we have to say that, okay, this file does not exist. So maybe we show a 404. Okay, so this page is bad. So that is how, like, Dropbox, if we change anything in this URL, right? I'll put XYZ here. Okay, so they are saying it's a 404, right? So there is some error in this file. This link is not valid. So we also have to handle that case. So let's quickly go to the database and check if this file ID, there is a file with this file ID or not. Okay, so to do that, okay, let me copy this query here, some query, yeah. Okay, here I'll say file object is my mongo.db.files. dot find one. Okay, so here let's me quickly open my database as well. So I'm using Robo3T. I think you're also using this. This is my cloud. My database is my cloud. Yeah, so the name is files. My files are in files collection. Okay, so I have to find in files, find one where underscore ID is my file ID. Okay, so and then we'll do if file object is none. Okay, so here we don't need to redirect to the login page, guys. We have to show them like a 404 page. So in Flask there is there is a helper function to show a 404, and that is abort. Maybe we went through this earlier. I don't know. Abort. Oops, no. So we can just abort with the 404 here. This abort is from Flask. You have to import it. Okay. So we have imported it already. That's why it's working. But otherwise, you have to add this import from Flask. Okay. So now, so I think this is okay. Let's go and so if I refresh this page here, it shows not found because my URL is wrong. This file ID does not exist. XYZ does not exist. And similarly, if I go to my other URL, which is this one, I reload this, you can see now it is for this also it is saying not found. Okay, so this happens because these file IDs are strings. Okay, and this underscore ID is a type of object ID. Okay, yeah, so some mistakes are there in, I mean, we can't directly query an underscore ID with a string. Okay, we have to convert it into object ID first. So there is object ID. Okay, so you may ask, how do I know this? So again, if you don't know this, the way is like, okay, we have to find whatever Mongo plugin we are using, PyMongo. Okay, so we are using PyMongo. We'll say PyMongo find by ID. So here you can see, if you go here also already we see, so this syntax is there. Yeah, so here you can see to search a document in MongoDB using PyMongo, we have to do db.collection_name.find underscore ID object ID of this string. Okay, so that is why our file ID is not working directly. We have to convert it into an object ID first. So you can see this maybe that's the same thing they're asking here as well. Okay, so we have to typecast it. We have to convert this string into an object ID. So this object ID, as you can see, I am using PyCharm, guys. Otherwise, you'll have to add this import, okay, here. But if you are using PyCharm, you can just do this. You can use this to import. Okay, it'll suggest the import that will fix it. Okay, yeah, that's why I want you to use PyCharm. It's very helpful. Okay, so now I refresh this bad page. Now you see there is an error. So it is saying invalid ID. XYZ is not a valid object ID. So it's not even reaching this line. It's failing at this line itself because this line 287, you can see line 287 in server is now throwing an error. Okay, so we gotta try catch this. Except we'll just say pass. Okay, and here we'll give a default value none. Okay, so now I come here, I refresh this. So this is a 404 because XYZ does not exist, and here this ID exists. So here you can see, okay, it's still reaching the end of our code. So here we need to make a download page here. Let me quickly grab a render template. Okay, so we'll create a new file called download.html, and we'll pass the file object with the name file. Okay, so as you can see here, so I just did this to show you guys so how it works in the view. So this is the name of the variable in the view, this key, whatever the name of the argument, and this is the actual value. So to access this file object in our view, we can just call it as file. So we don't need to call as file object. That's it. So let me go and make this download HTML. Okay. So now this entire download.html will also use our base template. So I'm copying some code from files.html. So I'll copy until here. Okay. And also add end block. Okay. And here, so instead of list of files, I say download file. Okay. Download file mycloud. And for the actual content, okay, I think that's it. So for the actual content, let's say, okay, you can click on the button. Click on this button. Click on the button below to download the file. Okay, and we'll add a button here. You just say download. This will be a primary button, let's say, or maybe a success. Okay, so you can see this is like a minimal download page. I have not even given the file details. So as you see in Dropbox page, so in this page they have shown the file name, right? Here they have shown file name and they have shown this size. So you can also implement this kind of view if you are interested in front-end development. I want you guys to experiment with design as well. So to download the file, we'll say, oops. I'll say file original file name. Okay, and I'll put this in bold. So just to show the user what file they're about to download. Okay. Cool. So let's check out our page. Oops. So user is undefined. Wow. So this is happening because our header, I think our header, right? This partials header.html is expecting a user variable. So we need to pass the user variable as well. Let's go ahead and let's see the index page. So we have to get this user and we have to pass this to our view. Okay. Okay, so I think it's clear for you guys. Okay, so now you can see, so this header as it's all fine, and here it says click on the button below to download the file, and there's a button. So now you can see this page is secure, which means that, okay, so let's say I copy this link and I open this in an incognito window. Okay, so it says you must log in to access this page because we have this user token check in the beginning itself. In the beginning of our controller itself, we have this user token check. Fine. Yeah, so I think I don't like this design, so let's see what we can do. Maybe add a little gap above this, little margin for this paragraph. 4. So these are so this kind of empty 4. There are different classes defined in Bootstrap for margin top and all. You can go through them in Bootstrap utilities. Yeah, so there is a page in utilities and its name is spacing. So here they describe all these MT0123 classes. So here this is an example of what is ML1, what is PX2 and all. So there are a lot of helper classes in Bootstrap. We don't need to write margin top 1 rem, margin top 10 pixel. So this kind of CSS is not required anymore because we are using Bootstrap. They have all these as utility classes. So let's say we want a left margin as well for this paragraph. So previously we had to do margin left, okay, like 10 pixel like that. But now because we have this bootstrap helper classes, we can just do ML3 or something like that. So if I just refresh it, you can see there's a left margin as well now. I just showed it as an example. Let me remove this. Yeah. So to make this more attractive, I think let's try center aligning this. So here you can see I'm changing this first in my inspect element panel. Only when I like it, I'll do that change in my file. Okay. Yeah, I think center looks good. So let's put text center here. Okay. So now, so let's say somebody has shared this link. Okay. So now the user comes to our download page. So on that page, they will see click on the button below to download the file. And finally, so when this download button is clicked, we have to make the user download this file. Okay. So all that is pending now. Remaining stuff is, I think, done. And at the same time, as mentioned in our document, full stack project. So here we also said the system should track downloads, that is which user has downloaded which file. Okay. So we have not tracked this download yet because the download has not happened yet. As of this stage, the download has not happened. So when this button is clicked and we get this browser download dialog, at that moment we will do the tracking. Okay, then at that moment we will insert a record that okay, this user has downloaded this file. So just by visiting this page, the user has not yet downloaded, right? That is why we are not tracking at this stage. But it's up to you. I mean, all kinds of tracking. I mean, you can track all kinds of actions. So you can even track the, like who is opening this page and all. It's up to you. But yeah, let's quickly implement this download functionality now. Okay, so like how we had this download, right? So similarly we want another URL here, another download URL here. Like let's say, so I mean we could have called it like share. Okay, I mean then it would have been, maybe it would have made more sense. But so since we have already used up this /download route, let's do another route for this. Okay, so instead of using a button here, I'm saying we'll use an a tag. We'll give this btn success. Okay, and we'll say our href is something, and we'll add a target as well. We'll do a target blank so that it opens in a new tab. And here in this href, we will do /download my file. Okay, so we are doing another URL here, and again we are doing fid underscore id. Okay, just file underscore id, guys. Okay, so the actual file download URL, I just found this file download URL. We don't need the file ID there, the file slug file name over there, because that is not shared anywhere, right? So this download file /f underscore id, this will be my actual file URL, by opening which if I open that, if any user opens that, they will actually download the file instead of seeing this kind of page. Okay, so let me quickly reload this. Oops, it says f is undefined. I'm sorry, I think its name is file here. So here you can see in our controller, which is the server backend handler, route handler, we named it as file object. But when passing that data to the view, when passing that variable into the view, we named it as file. Okay, so here in our view, the name is file. It's accessible using the name file. So let me reload this again. So I click download. Here you can see a new tab has opened with /download file and just the file ID. Okay, so let's work on this for a moment. I'll close these other tabs now. Okay, so in this route I'll have to implement the file download. So let me go here back into my server. I'll add a new route. download file. So again, there is a variable. Now we again have a variable which is this underscore id, file id. So I'll just say file id, and this is also a get request. I'll call this download file. It will receive a file id. I'll again do a print. So all this code will be again repeated, guys. So until here, so this is the session check, right? So this we need this all of this again, so that anonymous and some anonymous user is not downloading the file by directly visiting this link. Okay, so if somebody knows this is the link, okay, so they can just download any file, right, by bypassing this share page, and we don't want that. So again, this entire session check and all, we need that again. We'll put this again here. And then again, so this user id and user, this part, we and again, and file object, if file object is none, we have to abort with 404. All this stuff, we need this same stuff again in our actual download handler. And this user id and user thing, we'll need that for the tracking. So let's come back to that after the download functionality. We implement the download functionality. So we will need this as well for the tracking, okay, to insert a download record in our database. Fine. So here, for now, just to check if the user is going there, I'll just say, okay, file download should happen. Okay, that's it, I think. Oops. So again, so this is that same error we were talking about before this. So the server has not reloaded here, even though I made this change. Okay. So I come back and I reload. So it says, okay, file download should happen now, which means it has reached this point. And in my terminal, you can see we are already receiving this file ID. And we even did a query in MongoDB, and we got the file object, which contains all this data. So now in this database, in our data record, file record, we have this file path where we actually have this file physically, which is our uploads folder. So here we have these files here. So now we have to stream this file as a download to our browser. So to do that, let's see, it's again Flask file download. So here you see how to download file using Flask. Okay. So you can see there is this send file function, guys. They are saying there is some send file function in Flask itself. We can just say this send file and it should work. Let's check that out. Okay. So instead of returning this okay, file download should happen now somewhere. Yeah, so instead of returning this string okay, file download should happen now, we'll use this send file now. Okay. Okay. So now this send file, I have to import this send file from my Flask. Okay, and now this file path is there in our file object. It is there in the key file path. So for my path will be equal to path is, I'll call this file path is file object of file path. So as you can see, even in my code, this variable naming, if you see, I'm using underscore file underscore object sometimes. I'm using this camel case name sometimes. So even that is inconsistent behavior, guys. In your code, I mean, it's a good practice to use, a single convention. Okay, so we are calling this as file path. Okay, that's it. So we just found that code on some site. We don't know what site, some Roy's tutorials. So yeah, that is how, I mean, most coding works. So if you're you need to do a lot of research and development. This is the research and development phase. So so luckily we found some line of code in the first link itself. Otherwise, you may have to go to this next link and next link, find some code to try, or else you could directly go into the documentation, which I mean I suggest you search in internet first and you follow these links. If you don't get, then you go to the documentation. So even though you found it, I'm just showing you. So yeah, so in this documentation also you can find this somewhere. Okay, so somewhere, I mean, they might have described this somewhere. Okay, like rendering templates, about responses. Let's say about responses. Let's directly go and search a file, or no. Study. Yeah, so this is file uploads, right? But now we want file downloads. No. So do we have any download? No. Maybe it's not there in the documentation, but yeah. So if you don't find it in the internet, you'll have to look it in the documentation, or if you don't find it in the documentation, then you'll have to do the worst thing, which is like go into their source, actually go into the Flask source and find out if there is a way to do it. Or else, like, the worst way is if let's say there was no send file function itself available in Flask, then you understand how a Flask response is made, and you'll do return make response, which is like the most basic way of doing it. So yeah, but let's see if this works. This is some line of code which we found. So here I go and I reload this page. So yeah, boom, it's working. So yeah, so download is happening. I can just save that file and it's working. Okay, so let's come back. I mean, it seems to be working, except for the tracking. Of course, we are not tracking who is downloading what, but let's go through the flow, the entire flow from the beginning. Okay, so let's say, let me close these other windows. Okay, so this time I share my topic.png. No, this time I share this, let's say this bad file name, some file name. Okay, I copy this link and I open it in an incognito window. Okay, so it asks me to log in, which is perfect. So let's make another user. I don't have a account, let's say. I mean, I'm mocking like some other user. I'm behaving like some other user, a friend of the first user. So I'm signing up for an account. Let's say my email address is Jaren. Okay, the user account is ready. I log in. Okay, so now you can see, I mean, my flow, it has broken because I came from some file URL. Somebody shared a link with me and I didn't have a user account. So I signed up for a user account. Jaren has signed up. I'm Jaren at this stage. So Jaren has signed up. I've signed up, but I go to this uploaded files list. So I'm lost here. I don't have, the continuity is broken, as you see, but I'm leaving that to you. Okay, so there is a way by which you can save the initial URL that the user has visited and redirect appropriately. So after login, so at this stage after login, okay, in handle login, check login. Okay, here we are always redirecting to this slash, right? Here you can do some kind of check in the session. You can store the first URL in session. Okay, so quickly show you. So yeah, so here when you redirect somebody to the login page because they don't have they visited this shared link and they are not logged in. So here you can say, you can store that in session. Okay, session redirect to URL is my, okay, slash download slash file ID. file name Swaggified. Okay, so this way you can store that URL in the session, and after they log in, instead of redirecting it to slash blindly, you can redirect to the right URL from the session. I mean, I'm leaving that for you, but yeah. So let's come back. Let's copy this URL, and okay, so now I'm Jerin. So I'm putting this URL. Okay, so it says, okay, wow, it says click on the button below to download the file. Okay, so I mean, if you want, you can make this page as well. You can make it beautiful by showing, like, if this is an image, you can show a file preview here itself, or if it's a PDF, you can show the document, first 2 pages of the document here itself. You can show more details. So you can show more details, like the size of the file when it was uploaded, who uploaded it. So Anant has uploaded it, so you can show Anant uploaded it. Yeah, it's up to you. So I click the download button. Okay, wow, it's working. So I'm able to download, and it works. Okay, I think that's it guys. Sorry, so now we have not implemented the tracking, of course, which was one of the requirements. So the tracking is kind of simple. So in our database, we have a collection called file downloads, right? Let's go back to that requirements document again. I think we gave the data structure here. Yeah. So in file downloads, we have to store the user ID and file ID and the date at which this download happened. So just before sending this file, using this return send file, just before that last line here. So just before this, we'll do the track user download. Okay, so here tracking tracking, it means nothing, but we just put a record in our database saying, okay, so in this collection, we put a record saying this user ID and this file ID at this time download happened. That's it. So here, so we need the user details for that, because we have to log in, we have to log which user did the download. So I'm quickly copying this. So this is my user. Actually, yeah, we don't even need the user. So we just need the user ID, right? So we just pick the user ID. And so here we'll do an insert mongo.db.file downloads. So I'm now inserting into file downloads collection dot insert one file ID. File ID is my file. Okay, I can use file ID. I can use file ID variable as well, which is my string, but this contains the string. So instead of string, I want to store object ID. I want to store the actual object ID. So I'm using file underscore object of ID. Okay, I mean, you guys, you can see the difference. You can use both and see what's actually happening in the database to understand. Okay, and my user ID will be user ID, and created at will be the current timestamp. Okay, so current timestamp, I think we use something here. Okay, that's it. So now let's come back again. Let's go back in an incognito window. Log in with Jerin. Okay, so I'm again lost. So I'll come back to this URL. It says, okay, click on the button below to download the file. I click on download. Okay, so now, so at this point of time, you can see guys, so once this browser window, this download window has come, for our server, it means that the download has happened. Okay, the user might cancel from here, but still our server has sent the file to the, I mean, it has sent the basic details of this file already. So we are considering it as if the download is completed. So if you see, even though I haven't pressed OK at this stage, if we go into the database here, you can see So we now have a download record. Okay, so it says this file ID and this user ID downloaded this file. Okay, so just to be sure, let's see which user ID this belongs to. 1B4. Okay, this 1B4 is Jerin, and this file ID 448. File ID 448. So Jerin has downloaded this 6e7 something.png. Okay, so that is the tracking functionality. Cool. So I think, yeah, that completes the flow, the share and download flow, as you guys asked. So yeah, so let me know if you guys have any doubts. Jerin, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think
I
we can
think,
conclude the session at this point.
yeah, sure, sure. Shubham's doubts has been addressed, right? Did you check the chat?
No.
Okay, I think Shubham has a couple of doubts.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Send from directory. Okay, I'm not aware of this function, so let's quickly show. Let's quickly see what is send from directory. Okay, so this is the documentation, Flask documentation somewhere. So it says send a file from a given directory with send file. So what this function is doing is it is internally using the send file itself. Okay, but this seems like some kind of helper function. So yeah, it's perfectly fine if you are using this send from directory. Send from directory. Yes, it can be used. Okay, and yeah, so final question is how to implement this drag and drop UI for upload. Okay, this I think I have skipped it in my tutorials as an exercise to you guys. So this is not Python intensive, but this is more JavaScript intensive. So here in the upload dialog, let's come to this upload dialog. So here, as you can see, I did this using a simple file, input type file. Okay, I just have an input type file here. So the user has to click browse, okay, and then they have to go to the file, and then they have to select the file and all. But for drag and drop functionality, let's just see once if drag and drop functionality is working here. Okay, so let me quickly choose some kind of file, some file here. Okay, so I have a PNG file that I would like to upload. So here I'm just dragging. Okay, so I'm sorry. So this is another window. I'm dragging it from another monitor. So here, see, I'm dragging a file here, but let me first remove this inspect part. Oops. Okay, so I'm dragging a file now and I'm dragging it onto this browse. So you can see it already works. Okay, as you saw, it already kind of works. So this is, but so this functionality is browser specific, guys. I mean, it works in this browser, this version of Mozilla. It's working. Mozilla Firefox thing. It's working. Okay, so it may not be working in some other browser. Okay, so this kind of functionality it already works, but so this drag and drop functionality I mean it's like, okay, it's fine. I mean, I can't just drag it somewhere here, right? So it's that behavior is different. So to be consistent in all the browsers and make sure it works like how we expect it, or even customize it. Like, let's say we want the drop to happen in the entire window, like how it is in Google Drive or Dropbox. You can just drag this file anywhere here. Once you start dragging a file, this entire thing becomes a drop container. Okay, so to implement that kind of functionality, you have to use some kind of JavaScript plugin. Okay, you can always do it using pure JavaScript, but that is complicated. So I suggest you use some kind of JavaScript plugin. So let's say JS file drop plugin. Let's see if there are some plugins on the internet. Okay, so there is some file drop. Let's see. Okay, so it says self-contained cross-browser. Fine. So let's see its demo once. Okay, so it says drop a file inside. Okay, so let's see drop. Okay, so this is how it is working. You see, you can see this is how it is working. So I can drop a file inside this. Okay, so it works. So using this kind of plugin, we can implement like a big drop container. So similarly, so like we can have this kind of thing, but I personally don't like this kind of small drop zone. I mean, they could have had a bigger drop zone. Oops. Oops. Yeah, that works. I like this kind of zone because I mean it's not easy to get it wrong at this stage. So yeah, so this kind of file drop we can implement it here. Okay, but using this kind of code. Okay, so to do this, so you have to understand how to use third party dependencies in our project, guys. So like we used Bootstrap and jQuery. That's it, right? So in our base.html, as you can see, we used only jQuery and Bootstrap here. So let me quickly let's quickly do this. Okay, let's try adding this file drop plugin into our code. So to do that, so we'll download the latest. We'll download this file, and while downloading, we have to see like how we put this into our page. So it seems like this is like a one JavaScript file. Okay, so there is this JavaScript file, and there is some. It looks like there is some CSS as well. Okay, if you read this text content, you understand. So it says you need to include the following CSS. Okay, so yeah, I mean let's download this file. Let's save it. Let's save this in where is it? Where is it? My cloud. Okay, in static folder. I'm saving it in static folder. Okay, so I've downloaded this file. Now it's in my project. Okay, there is file drop min.js, and this file. Okay, guys. So this script file, I don't need it in all my pages. I just need it in my home page. So this files page. Okay, so I'm going back to my files.html, and here under my block scripts. Okay, so this is my scripts block for this exact page. So here I'm adding this file drop dash min.js. Okay, so and they also said there is some CSS, so let's copy this CSS, complete CSS, and I mean we can add it into styles.css as well, so we can just add it like here itself, but that's I don't like to do it that way. So I'm creating a new CSS file here. I'm saying this is my file drop.css. Okay, so now I have to include this CSS file as well into my page, which I can do it here itself. Okay, or I can do it the right way, which is again I'll define an empty styles block here, and I just want this CSS file drop.css file. I want that to be included only in my files page. So I'll override this. I'll override this styles block here, and I'll copy. So there is no more need for inline CSS. So I'm getting rid of this, guys. So here I'll say file drop.css. That's it. So we have included these JS file now. We have included this CSS file now. So let's see what else needs to be done for this kind of thing. Okay, so let's copy this entire code. So see, so here personally, I think so. I have done a lot of work like this, so I can understand this code a bit easily. Okay, but at your stage, you may have to make sense. Okay, what is happening? Okay, so there is an event. So this what this code means, is it's like, so this is an abstraction, guys. So this file drop, a lot of code is inside this file drop, and we don't know what is inside that. Okay, so we need to make sense out of this example code that they have given us. Okay, and this HTML code that they have given us, and we have to implement the same thing in our project. Okay, we don't need to understand everything that is there in that file drop, but at this stage we need to understand what we need. Okay, what we need for our implementing the functionality that we desire. So from the first glance, it seems like there is this zone. So they're calling this as a zone. They're instantiating this zone as a new file drop. Okay, so this file drop is coming from that JavaScript which we just included. So this JavaScript file, we included it into our project. So this file drop must be defined there. And so here they define this zone, and they're adding some kind of event handlers. Okay, so they're saying whenever send event happens, you run this function. Okay, and whenever there is this iframe done event happens, you run this function. Whenever so there is add event, they're adding some kind of event here. So they're saying toggle multiple file selection. Okay, let's see. So at this stage, I'm just copying this entire thing. I'm just putting my entire thing into my JavaScript page, which is this filespage.js. Okay, which is filespage.js. Okay, and before we do this, there is one more thing I want to tell you, which is like somewhat important. So in general, while writing JavaScript, we want to make sure that the page is ready, before putting these event handlers, and before defining our JavaScript, before defining our whatever functionality that we want. So we want to make sure that the page is ready. So you may find in the internet also, you may find people doing this kind of code here, what I'm writing. Okay, so this is like a JavaScript code snippet, which means that, okay, so whatever is inside this function, whatever I write inside this function is executed only after the document is ready. And by ready, what it means, you can always refer to the documentation. What this ready means is that, okay, the page has rendered, the page has got all the resources, and the page is ready for user interaction at this moment. Okay, so at that moment, we want to bind our event handlers. So before this, I was doing like on the fly, right? Whenever the code, the browser rendering engine, whenever it reaches this point, it starts executing the script immediately. Okay, but we don't want that. We want the page to be ready for the user, present itself completely to the user, and then we want to run this JavaScript. So it's generally a good behavior to put all our code, our event handlers and our functions, everything into this kind of snippet document ready. Okay, so now here, so whatever this code we copied, I'm putting that here. So I'll just write, okay, this is file upload, drag and drop UI. Okay, so here there is something called Z basic. I think it's the ID of the HTML tag where the file upload is there. So here let's copy the HTML as well. Whatever HTML they have used, we'll just copy this entire thing. Okay, we won't make any change at this point of time. So this is in our upload model. We'll go to our upload model. So in place of this input type file, okay, input type file and label which is choose file below, I just don't want to get rid of this code yet. I'll just comment this and I'll paste this field set code. Okay, so this is their code. Now we'll use the same ID as well, which is Z basic, whatever it is. Okay, so let's test it out at this point of time. I'll go to the upload model. So you can see, I mean, the CSS is not, doesn't look right. It's kind of here and there. Maybe we need custom CSS. Oops, sorry. Maybe we need some custom CSS to make it look this way, which is FD zone. Where is this coming from? FD zone. It's there. Yeah, so let me quickly copy this. Okay, and legend as well. Okay, and then we have FD file. I think all this is already there. Okay. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just copying from here. Okay. Let's see if that has improved. Okay. So I see some improvement, but the width is not improved. So there is this width 15 em, which I don't want that to be there. So width 15. Width is, I want width to be 100%. Let's see if it works. Yeah. Okay. And I want some kind of margin for this upload file. So 24. Okay. So let me quickly drag. Okay. So drag seems to be working. Okay. So here you can see, so drag and drop now it's working. So we can have an even bigger drop zone. Okay. And we can remove this allow multiple selection thing. We can remove this. We don't want that. Okay. Click here to browse is also working by default. It's great. So let's go to the CSS once again, and let's add a height like 200 pixel. Okay, fine. Why is there a checkbox? So there is a checkbox which is remaining. Yeah, we don't need this. That's it. And this drop of file inside, it's coming in the center. This drop of file inside, it's coming in the center. I don't know why. Yeah, so there's text align center here in the field set. So this, for this legend, we'll make text align left or no. I think center it's fine. Okay. So at this stage, so that is the drop zone, guys. So we now have a drop zone. I mean, the JavaScript is done, but you can see what's happening here is, okay, so this by default, it is handling, it is uploading, it is doing some kind of upload, which is not what we want. Okay. So our upload, if you see, it's a post request, right? So we were submitting this form. We were doing we were doing this form post right here, but it appears that here we will need to do an AJAX request. Okay, so at this stage, let's quickly go through some more thing. Okay, so upload. I mean, here we'll have to customize the upload functionality, guys, because so our API, it's like, if you see this handle file upload function in our API, which is our backend. So this handle file upload, okay, this handle file upload, it is a post request. We are supporting a post request, and so user token, I'm sorry, just a second. Yeah. So here we are expecting a file by the name uploaded file. Okay. So this was the input type name. If you see here, this was uploaded file. Okay. So here we are expecting a file to be posted by the name uploaded file. But here, so if we open inspect element network, so whenever I upload a file, you can see there is already a request going to upload.php. Okay, so this is posting to /upload.php, and it is actually sending that file. Okay, so it is actually sending that file, but it is sending some kind of payload. Okay, so we need to customize this. Okay, we need to send it by the name of uploaded file. So let's see if there is a way to customize that. Okay, this is iframe or whatever. So yeah, here, I mean, I think I have to stop at this stage, but here you can check this documentation. Okay, so I've shown until here. So from now on, all you need to do is you have to change this behavior of Ajax request. So this upload.php, in fact, it is there in our config itself. So here they have defined this URL. So this URL should be handle file upload. Okay, so this should be handle file upload. And then again, okay, so whenever I drop, so part, it's still going to upload.php. So I think it could be that cache. Okay, so let's see again. Nope. Yeah. Passing custom data. Okay. Yeah, so there is this send to. Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's more JavaScript here. So which is this send to. Okay, so here they have again upload.php. We want it as send to handle file upload. Okay, and we want to customize it by this name. Okay, so we want to change the name as well. Yeah, so in this page, you can see some other setting. You have to go through this page. Yeah, and they see. In fact, you can also use this file API in the worst case. If there is no way to change that file name, so you have to understand how to make this XHR request, how to upload a file from the browser via Ajax. So this is not a regular form post. Okay. So since we changed that URL, let me just check for the last time if this works directly. But unfortunately, so no. So there is this handle file upload which said, okay, so this is a PNG, right? Let's check in our database. Files. No, so file upload did not happen actually. So the upload did not happen, guys. It says, yeah, so here it says no file uploaded. Okay, so that is because, I mean, this file is sent in the payload, but so Flask is expecting it to be sent in Flask. We are expecting it to be sent in a key called uploaded file. So yeah, so this has something to do with even more fundamentals. So the kind of upload, the kind of web request that is going is fundamentally different. So you can change this behavior. You can handle this file upload manually here itself using file API as well. You can use file API directly. Okay, event files. Yeah, so here So here you can do form data. Okay, something like this. You'll have to use something like this, but more information will be available in form data, JavaScript form data upload file. So yeah, you have to understand the fundamentals of file upload for implementing this drag and drop after this stage here. So something like this, go through this code and yeah, try. Otherwise, you post your approach in that group and we'll discuss on it in the group later on in the Telegram group. I think that helps.
Great. And so I think we can conclude the session.
Yeah,
So
I think that's it, Jaren. We've given out a lot of information in this session regarding the share and download and other stuff. So drag and drop UI, keep it as the last thing you implement, guys. You make sure you get everything first. The other stuff, you make sure you get it working first, and then at the end you can get to the drag and drop. Yeah.
great. Okay, then we'll wrap this up. If you have any queries, you can ask in the Telegram group. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.